Alright, so, hello everyone, and welcome back to Factorio. So, I'm going to click resume, and let's get into it. So, when we left off, we were out here, and actually, I think I would have just changed the spot where I'm physically standing, because that is a bit dangerous for a couple of reasons. So let's just go back in here into the main area, where we won't get attacked if biters somehow get into that one tiny area. Now, if I recall, we were working on sort of just a bunch of different tasks. So we have uranium enriching, which is making progress. We're up to 12. And we're going to have to set this up in a way that loops properly, although it might actually be set up that way already. Yeah, I'm not sure if this will actually work. And I'm pretty sure we want the fuel, the nuclear powered cell things to be after the enrichment and not before it, which is going to require taking all that stuff out and rebuilding it over here, and actually even a little bit further over that way so that we have space to run a belt up there. So that just goes like that, and get the long-handled inserter there. So you need to take a requester chest for the steel plates, and we can just get that set up. Or iron plates, not steel plates. And then we have another box which will then output the fuel. And then this whole area gets powered up. And that will be that for now. So that should prioritize the enrichment, which should be what we need to have happen. Then the centrifuging could be going faster, but like it's probably more or less fine. That's up to 13. We need to get like 20, right? If we go into here. The Covarex enrichment. No, we need to get up to 40. Alright, so that's going to be a long ways away. Meanwhile, we've also unlocked portable fission reactor once we have uranium fuel cells to spare. And we had other tasks, like we were making productivity modules over here, which seems to be going pretty well. So now it's just a question of how fast we can get these productivity modules made, which seems to be a question of how fast we can get these productivity modules made. So let's get another one of these going even, just because it seems like... Actually, we don't even need to set up another one of those. What we can do is just have a passive provider chest on there. And that can drain from all of these guys. And we just want this to be relatively low stockpiles. But that should get these things going a little bit faster in the short term. Power still doing fine. Alright, so productivity modules are being made, and that will eventually get a whole bunch of various places upgraded. But it seems like blue circuits are no longer, at least at this exact instant, blue circuits are not a major limiting factor. I think we will let these just cook as much as they can. Just because, like, we're always going to need them in the future, right? So that can't hurt to have. Although it will drain the red circuits. But we're going to be using a whole lot of blue circuits pretty soon anyways, so it should be fine. The other thing we need to be worrying about is Vulcanist Support 2, which is almost up and running. This is... I mean, the ammo is mostly filtered back to where it needs to be. We have a lot of coal stockpiled there. And just a little bit more. We're going to let this filter back to the point where the machines are all saturated, just because that'll make it much more likely that we don't have any issues. We've got plenty of water, we've got plenty of carbon, plenty of iron here. So that should be just about settled. And now the iron plates are backlogging, which I guess we can let those backlog a little bit. And then we're just going to send this guy off and see what happens. Now, I don't think there's any important fixes that need to be made for this. So you can just go to automatic mode. Okay, we are missing some productivity modules in here. But that's not really a major deal. It's just these guys. Yeah, we shouldn't really be needing those productivity modules urgently. And it'll be a very long time before we get access to them. Alright, so that's Vulcanist Support 2 set up and moving through space. So that, assuming that we don't see any problems with that, should be pretty neat. So the next thing we need... Let's see, these guys are all productivity moduled. Yeah, so that's good. Check back down on the uranium. How is this going? You have 15. Alright, the answer to how is this going is very slowly, as it turns out. So, can we get more centrifuges on this? With the way I've designed this, not really. Can I fit... Okay, I can there. And potentially here. I'm very clever. If I do that, and then put a beacon there, then I can get speed modules onto those two. And that will be hopefully marginally improved. I think I can see the corner of the beacon range barely reaching into the machines, which we will figure out once they get placed, of course. Still 57 productivity modules short of being done here. And that is built back in, and there goes another 235. That's cool. So this one is showing it's within range of 3 beacons, as is that one. So that does work, which means we can, assuming that that isn't an issue, which I don't think it is, we can do this here and here as well to just fit all the speed we can get. There's going to be diminishing returns, obviously, but it'll be a whole lot faster even with that. And so now we're just waiting on the modules to show up. Now we're just waiting on the modules to show up. There they go. So this is up to 126%. This one is at 156%. Alright, yeah, it seems like it's going somewhat. And the differences are partially because of the productivity modules that are in here. So up to 16, almost halfway to having a good supply of better uranium. So that's pretty cool. We've also gotten most of the way to Spidertron unlock, although now it's going real slow. So what's going on with our science? We've got a couple of these guys, and we're short production science, mostly. So, purple science. Where are you, and what do you need? You are short on electric furnaces, which are short on red circuits. Of course, that does make a lot of sense. So we can improve the modules in there a little bit, and I mean, it will occasionally run, it looks like. It's just very slow. How's the red circuit supply? Still absolutely desperate. That's unsurprising. Alright, but we are... Yeah, we probably don't need a second stack of those. So we can let those module supplies backlog again, if that's available. And let's see, this whole thing is going, and it looks like these guys are being limited by green circuits. And the green circuits are limited by... They're limited by wire, which we can't really do much about because this is a full speed turbo belt. And did we do more green circuit stuff down here? Yeah, we did. So these guys are also limited by wire, but we might be able to improve that if we can find more places to squeeze beacons in. Like right here, we can fit one in. Actually, that needs to be there. And then we get a beacon, which can overwrite those solar panels and speed modules. Alright, so now while the iron is temporarily broken, I guess the copper wire can backlog a little bit. But now it's back in. And does this reach you? Yes, it apparently does. It's so hard to tell the yellow highlighting on the very yellowish grass behind it. But it looks like it's working. And so now this is 26.2 copper wire per second, which is enough to run like 2 of these. The sheer amount of wire needed is insane. Okay, maybe I can remove a couple more solar panels and just get a whole other foundry back here. Attract a group of pentapods using spores. Okay, well that's an alarming achievement. Yeah, okay, I guess Gleba is just broken now. That's not ideal. That's not ideal at all. Okay, so they've done that, and then they're just sort of wandering around. Hopefully they will leave. I'm not on Gleba, so I can't do much if they decide to attack. What weaponry do I even have here? I have some laser turrets, which I don't think are good enough. I have rocket turrets, which have a range of 36, maybe, but I haven't crafted any of them. Alright, well, let's get rows of laser turrets in. And apparently we don't have that many. Alright, that's not good. That's not good at all. We do have some, though. So those laser turrets are in, so theoretically we have technically some defense against those guys, although it looks like they have just wandered away, which I guess is fine, but we need to make rocket turrets in order to defend against these guys, probably. So let's grab an assembly machine and see what we need to make rocket turrets. We need all sorts of things, so let's just get you set up like that, and then outputting into a random box. And then you get to have that, to read ingredients, set requests. And now that whole thing is powered. So we need rocket launchers, processing units, and gear wheels in the logistics network. We have the carbon fiber stuff. So I'm pretty sure we make gear wheels up here, right? Yes, we do. So that can just get a box to do that. And blue circuits, that steel chest can become a passive provider chest. Alright, so now we have everything except the rocket launchers. So let's get those in. And you get the same thing with that. Read ingredients, set requests, and we have everything for those. So that they can output to a passive provider chest. And then both of these we're going to want to limit significantly. And then the last thing that we need are the rockets themselves, which we're going to need iron plates and explosives for. I don't know if you even have explosives. So let's get you set up, and we need to connect those up. Read ingredients, set requests. So we have no explosives in the logistics network. And just scanning around, I don't see any on the map. So I assume that we're going to need to make those as well. So explosives are in here somewhere. Oh no, they're probably in a chemical plant. Actually, can we biochamber explosives? That might be something which is biochambered. Who knows? Bioexplosives. Nope. None of these options are that. Alright, so you can just get picked right back up. And apparently we need a chemical plant. So you make explosives. And we do have a chemical plant here. So let's get you set up. And powered. Okay, wait, this needs to have its output. Let's get that in. And get a power pole there. Alright, so this then gets configured like that. And set requests, read ingredients. And fortunately, we happen to have a water pipe right here, so we can just connect that up. And now we need coal. This place doesn't have coal, which means we're going to need to make some coal, I guess. which theoretically should be doable on this planet. So we get this set up, and you can get configured just like all the others. I should just make this a blueprint, but it's fine. So we have carbon, we have some sulfur. Not a huge amount of sulfur, but we've got some. And we can definitely make this a requester chest for that if we need to. And we finished the Spidertron, so that's cool. Obviously will be something for the future, but we have it now. So, next upgrade. Let's see, what upgrades here are actually useful? Let's just get uranium ammo, that'll be fun. I don't know how much, if at all, we're going to be using it, but we have it now. Alright, so how is Gleba going to work? Because we've lost all of this stuff up here. So we're going to need to rebuild it, which is going to involve just connecting it into the drone network. And then we're going to have to set up defenses. So we just do that. And let's see, it didn't destroy the agricultural tower. Okay, no, it destroyed that one up there. So we did lose one agricultural tower. Also, it looks like the seeds are becoming an issue here. So we need to... We have somewhere around here we had... Yeah, we had these guys. So let's make these inputs requester chests. And they are going to get built in eventually via drone. Yeah, there they are. So you need... We're just going to set these manually. You need Yumiko seeds. You need landfill. And you need nutrients, which... Yikes. This whole... Gleba might... I might need to manually visit Gleba or do some serious work to get it functional again, because this is not looking great. Alright, so you also need landfill, and you need jelly nut seeds and nutrients. Alright, so this is going, and it looks like this is functional again, so that's good. We need to output our coal that we produce. So you can just do that, and apparently that's not within power range either. So we already have a good chunk of rocket turrets, and we're just a little bit until we get the actual rockets to go in them. So that's going to provide coal over to here, which is going to provide explosives over to here. And hopefully that will make... I mean, we don't need a huge amount of rockets. We just need enough so that every so often when we get attacked, it's fine. And it looks like the factory is almost up and running again. There's still a glaring absence of nutrients just anywhere in the entire system. So that's not ideal. I think that's because the places that produce nutrients don't have nutrients to get kickstarted. Like that one there. And then this. Okay, that's the problem. That needs to be a passive provider chest, and then we should be able to get things jump started again. Assuming that some of these drones take it to the right spot and they don't all go to the wrong place. Alright, so we just need to get some nutrients up to wherever this is, or wherever this is, just somewhere that can happen. And you guys are requesting nutrients, so you need to be trash unrequested. Then that should be all set up. Okay, I don't know why that box has a bunch of random copper and stuff in it. Definitely shouldn't. Alright, I'm sure it'll be fine. The nutrient supply... I mean, we've just got to get nutrients over to, like, this machine in particular. There are a bunch of places, actually, that the nutrients could go where it would be fine. Just doesn't look like it's prioritizing any of those places. Which is certainly not ideal. So, we need to get nutrients up to here, which involves... We want to make sure that it doesn't get stuck in any way. But for now, let's just get it set up and see what happens. So if we just do that, and you get a power pole, then we do have some nutrients being delivered to this. And we just need them to get that power pole in. Alright. That is something. We have some nutrients coming out now. Alright, we seem to have managed to jumpstart things a little bit. Alright, so nutrients are flowing, and that should get the bioflux running, and then the bioflux should make more nutrients over there, and then we should be all set once more. Okay, and also we can prevent that from happening more often. Which, you know, we have our laser turrets there for a reason. Let's just say that. And so now the amount of nutrients is going much better. Although it seems like it's providing mostly up to here, which isn't really what I want it to be doing. I want it to be making bioflux. But I'm sure it'll be fine. Alright, so over here on this side of things, we never got this set up. So you can have those to then output the explosives, which we can then use to make rockets. This is such an incredibly cursed setup, but it's fine. Alright, we've finished researching uranium ammo. Let's throw on an artillery shell damage upgrade. Might as well. That'll be mildly useful. Alright, so these... we need to just set these to higher numbers so that it can run more regularly. So those can be set to 50 each. And so can these. So it's sulfur and carbon. set to higher numbers, so they should run more frequently. This produces theoretically 0.5 coal per second. This uses theoretically 0.25. We have an explosive per second, which is going to give us a rocket every 3 seconds, which should be good enough. Hopefully. Alright, so that is rockets being produced, and we can even export these to Novice if we want to, or other places, like, I don't know, maybe they're good against the demolishers on Vulcanus. But yeah, so we have all those. The nutrient supply still not quite going through. Let's set you to output priority left so that we can get some nutrients through to our biochambers over here. And there we go. So that's doing all sorts of stuff. And now this actually had some bioflux left over and is now starting to run. Alright, so now we should be fine, because these are now getting nutrients, and that'll be more bioflux. And yeah, so I think the whole thing should be functional again. So let's just set that back up to right to keep these guys fed. We do not want to run out of pentapod eggs being fed. That would be a catastrophe. So yeah, now this bioflux is going to mostly be used to make more nutrients over there, and then even more nutrients down here. And the whole thing is up and running again. Cool. So that's a successful mission. Then we just need to build up our defenses up here. So we get a couple rocket turrets. And let's see, where do these need to be in order to function? We need them to be up high enough. Let's just try in there. Just sort of centralized. And let's have like 2 of them there, 2 of them down there. And then we are simply going to request or chest the ammunition in. And that should be good. Now this needs power. And this needs power. Oh, that already has a power pole there. So then you ask for just rockets. And we can paste those settings across to all those places. And I messed that pasting up, didn't I? Hit the wrong button. There we go. We have to left click. Alright, so now we have rockets. And these are set... Okay, these are actually set to 100. We don't need that to be 100. Let's make that like 20 maybe. Because we do still want enough rockets that they'll be able to fend off like an entire giant attack wave. And we're also going to want laser turrets in there, which I don't know how we're going to get. I guess from Gleba. So Gleba support can now do that. And you aren't getting agricultural science. So is that agricultural science? No, it is working. It's just for some reason, not doing anything. Why are you not getting loaded up? That's confusing. So you're definitely requesting... Oh, I see, because there's not 1,000 on the planet, and it won't launch unless it can launch an entire rocket's worth. Yep, that makes sense. That checks out. So once this gets up to 1,000, then we'll send it all up. Okay, so this guy has 18 spare rockets and 12 in the turret itself. This one has 4 rockets in the turret. These two just have like 1 each. So how is this going? You are actually being limited by your iron plate supply. We apparently have the explosives that we need. So what's wrong with iron plate supply? Did we just not... Okay, we do have enough iron plates, but we're just only picking them up like 8 at a time. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, what the... Well, our rocket turrets were very much not enough to defeat this guy. So that's not ideal. We were close though. We got him down to almost half. But now he's going to destroy the entire factory. Well, that's not great. Well, we have our 2 laser turrets in here. Is there anything I can do emergency-wise? Yes, I can place down... Oh, okay, no, he's way too close. I can place down some of those. And... yeah, no, he's... yeah, that's the entire factory gone. That's probably unrecoverable. Yeah, oh, he's just going through everywhere, isn't he? Okay. Well, he can feel free to do that. We're just gonna be sad about it. Yep, that is everything destroyed. And there goes the solar panels. Yeah, this could have gone better. And he's just gonna hang around in there. Did we... yeah, we don't have drone coverage anywhere anymore. Which means I can't do anything to stop this. Okay, we technically have drone coverage, just not anywhere that matters. And there goes the power grid. Alright. Turns out the pentapods are angry and will attack you and destroy the literal entire factory in like 30 seconds. Alright, that's quite frustrating. We're gonna have to rebuild Gleba from scratch. And yeah, not enough logistics network storage space. That's one of the problems that we're having, I agree. Okay. Yeah, there's nothing that can be done here. We don't have any spare rockets. Is he literally just gonna go through and wipe out every individual building one by one? Can you at least leave me something? No, the answer is no. Everything is gone. Including probably all the drones. And now he's going down here to destroy all that stuff. Alright, well, we're gonna have to rebuild Gleba, I guess, and figure out... I guess we were so close. I mean, we got him down to like half. We got him down to like half, but not quite good enough. And it looks like physical rockets are probably the best option. So we just needed more rockets built up before this happened. That's frustrating. Like, we were maybe 10 minutes too slow. Like, if we had set this up literally just like 10 minutes earlier, then this guy would have just died to the rockets and we would be fine. But as it is, everything is gone and Gleba just doesn't exist anymore. Like, yeah, we have nothing on the planet. We can't even... I guess we can zoom in to this area, which is not of interest. Alright, well, we're just gonna ignore Gleba then. That is gonna be a whole giant process to rebuild. And fortunately, okay, actually that is gonna cause some problems on Novice once our supply of Bioflux runs out. Because we don't have Bioflux production here on Novice, obviously, we import it from Gleba, which means that eventually this guy is going to explode and we're going to lose our supply of productivity modules. Which, to be fair, we did get a good amount out of. So yeah, we're just continuing to get warnings on Gleba that we can do nothing about. In the meantime, let's look back down to our nuclear stuff. And how is this going? You have 34. That's actually almost there. Yeah, they keep giving me warnings about new things getting destroyed on Gleba as if I can do anything at all about it. Which I most certainly cannot. Yep. There goes even more stuff. That's just comical at this point. Did he find his way down to here? Yeah, he's up in this general area, just destroying things. Alright. Well, it sucks to lose a literal entire planet, but this is... I guess this is why we have other planets. And now, lesson learned, set up better defenses against giant pentapods coming to destroy everything. Meanwhile, Vulcanus is doing a little bit better. We've got... How's our speed module production going? That's like the big thing. We are up to 44 of them. And just missing the red circuits for this. Alright, that's fine. And Novice, we are almost caught up on everywhere that we've productivity moduled. We just have a couple machines left. And then that will be good. And then we're just going to have to try to bank as many productivity modules as we can, because we're not going to be producing new ones for a while. Alright, so I want to get Spidertrons probably before we go back to figure out how to fix Gleba up. The Spidertron will make that whole process a lot easier, I think. And Gleba is also like the #1 most annoying planet to restart because of all the spoilage stuff that you need to reboot. So that's extra annoying. But yeah, we're gonna get the uranium going, have nuclear power plants, and then figure out what to do about Gleba later. So our research, we can't do any more agricultural science research, at least not once like the current batch is done, because it's all gonna spoil. So how long is this? It's mostly gone anyways. Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, not much to be done there. The whole circuit situation is still going. And apparently there's still stuff left on Gleba to be destroyed. Somehow we have radar coverage built back up again. I don't know how that happened. Some drone must have placed something in. But, I mean, again, there's literally nothing, like... We don't have anything functional here. So this is all just going to get torn apart, and eventually the drones should just give up. It's a shame that he is completely committed to destroying everything in the entire factory. Like, the first one that just sort of wandered off after destroying just this part, that would have been nice to have. And we actually have rockets up here. Not a lot, but we do have some, which means he somehow just ignored them or moved fast enough to overwhelm them. Yeah, and then there goes this solar coverage area again. All that's destroyed. Somehow the rocket silo is intact. That one courageous laser turret, which I don't even know how this thing is powered. Oh, it's low power because it's right next to the solar panels. Yeah, okay, we've lost sight there. Yeah. Well, eventually everything on Gleba will be destroyed and we won't have to worry about it anymore. But yeah, those constant alarms are definitely a bit annoying right now. Okay, I saw a slight flicker of something happening on Novice, but it was completely overwhelmed by the Gleba stuff, so I think it probably wasn't really an issue. And we are just 2 uranium-235 short of having a basically infinite supply. And let's get some speed modules in. Just so that once that shows up, this can work more quickly. The speed is obviously very valuable to have. That Pentapod is having the time of his life up on Gleba. Alright. So yeah, stuff like that happening is unfortunate. But hopefully Novice has enough layers of redundancy that we shouldn't face a total collapse on Novice. And then Vulcanus obviously is completely safe as long as like we have access to the coal from space, of course. Okay. You can not take that delivery. You can just start traveling. There we go. Yeah. So Gleba is completely doomed. I wish I could just tell it that I just don't care about that planet anymore. Because there's literally nothing I can do about it, so all those alerts are just sort of irrelevant at this point. Like, even if I started heading over there on the transport platform now, it would be quite a while before I made it there. And I wanted to just do some prep before that happens. So now we just wait. We just wait for one more little uranium-235 to show up. Which is like approximate, it's like a 0.07% chance per output, which is not great. Okay, now we are losing things on Novice. Where? Up here in this corner? Alright, that's fine. Let's just get another couple of laser turrets in there and double wall it. So that's set up. And then it looks like the stuff on Gleba might have finally wound down. Yeah, I can't zoom in anywhere, which means probably literally nothing is intact, and it's all gone now. All right. In the meantime, this is successful. So this is producing the uranium-235 that we need. Cyan, hello. Bad news. Gleba is gone. The pentapods came. I had some rocket turrets set up, but apparently not quite enough. And yeah, so literally everything is gone. Every single building has been destroyed except for this corner down here. And so we're going to have to go back there and rebuild it at some point. It is what it is. Yeah, it's kind of crazy how fast Gleba escalated, because, I mean, basically what happened is I got an achievement that said, oh, you've attracted pentapods using spores. So I was like, oh no, I better start setting up defenses. So I was building some rocket turrets, and the time it took me to build like a couple rocket turrets and a couple of rockets to shoot from them, a pentapod came and destroyed everything in like 5 minutes, and that was that. It was like, well, that's not a whole lot of time to react. So I guess lesson learned. It's a shame I have to literally rebuild everything, but it'll probably be less bad the second time around. Yeah, it was rough, especially because my rocket turret production was on like the side of the base that the pentapods came from, so it was just like the first thing knocked out, so I couldn't build more. So it was pretty unfortunate. Okay, apparently they found more belts, and all the drones there are going away. Well, the good news though is that we do have Covrax enrichment, so that's happening now, which is pretty great. So we've lost Gleba, but we have gained nukes, so that's cool. And apparently we're still dealing with artillery down here. Okay, that's gone. Very cool. Alright, so this is all set up, and we're going to need to do something with all this extra uranium-238. Which I guess we could just, like, shut off new centrifuges. Since we have Covrax enrichment, we can just shut off new centrifuges until all this stuff has been burned through. That would be an option. Yeah, let's do that. I like smart systems like that. So we can just do that so that it's delivered through there, and then if we just... Okay, if we have like a splitter there, and then we can connect the splitter to that. So you are going to be set filter. Wait, no, that's not what we want. We need to do set output side so that it only processes new uranium if we actually need it. So that would be right if uranium-238 is greater than, let's go with 100, because that's like one stack, right? And then left if it's less than 100. Let's do less than or equal to, so we don't somehow get stuck. So that doesn't work for some reason. Oh, right. I think if we just put the filter in, which needs to not be that. It needs to be uranium ore. So that should be good, and that should prevent us from overfilling on anything. Okay, Vulcanist support. Which one's... One of those said it didn't have enough storage space, but they both have tons, so I don't know what's going on there. Alright, so Vulcanist support is there. It's launching the coal down. So that's all good. Vulcanist support 2 is on its way with an insane amount of coal because it's been sitting stationary while it was constructed. Alright. Oh, wait, this needs to be there, actually. I just realized that we have this whole other set of belts coming in. So you need to be... You need to be the opposite of what I had set up previously. So right, if that is less than or equal to 100, left, if it is greater than 100, and that... Okay, we need to put that belt back in. Alright, so that should have us covered now. And they somehow managed to keep finding new things to destroy on Gleba. Not sure how they keep finding that stuff. Oh, right, and then this needs to be set with a filter to block out the actual stuff from going through. Alright, so now we have Covarex enrichment as like our main source. And that is that. So this is able to pick up all of that. Now we have like 17 spare uranium-235. We have 2 beacons here. I didn't mean to hit escape. I meant to hit a different button. I meant to hit Q to copy that. And just get another beacon in here. You notice the power on Gleba went down. After like 20 hours of fully functioning, you had 10 minutes to fly over there. That is terrifying. Yeah, my transportation is just simply not fast enough to physically get over there. So like I'm just here on Novice basically, just watching everything go down. Like, well, nothing I can do about that. Yikes. Yeah, so well the good news is that we have unlocked we have unlocked Spidertrons. We haven't crafted any, but we have unlocked them. Which means theoretically we should be able to in the future just have Spidertrons on all the planets so we can be basically there in person like at the drop of a hat. Alright, they found more solar panels to destroy. I don't even know where all this stuff is. Like, I saw them destroy absolutely everything. Alright, so now that just needs to cycle a bit until its own internal buffer is full, and then we can call that done. So meanwhile, how is Vulcanist Support 2 doing? It's almost to Vulcanus after its first trip. So that should be cool. This is at 45 speed modules, and we'd still have a supply of coal. Yeah, we still have coal supply before Vulcanist Support 2 even gets there. That's good. That's a good sign. I guess Vulcanist Support 1 just turned around and left moments ago. So that means we're going to have plenty of coal for quite a while. which is good because we're going to be filling up Vulcanist support too with a bunch of stuff from the planet. Let's see, science, still going along slowly. Not doing gleba science anymore because the planet is gone. But we can at least do like artillery damage and everything. Get that going. The coal supply is going out. We might need this to be faster output in order to properly keep up with everything. Yeah, that might need to happen at some point. For now, it's probably okay, just as is. I guess it's not that hard to just get another one of you down here. And you can accept like 500 coal if you have it available. So that should get a little bit of coal on the other side of the belt. Okay, Novice just lost a solar panel. Why is that? Up here by this corner? Okay, that's kind of weird, but whatever. You can just get some laser turrets in there. And some walls to keep those laser turrets safe. Where are the biters coming from that would hit there? This group down here? Do we have artillery? Yes, we do. So let's just queue up a whole bunch of shots to wipe out that nest. And it's gone. Alright. And that's the last one. Alright, so that nest is gone and shouldn't have problems there, although they might retaliate into this general area. We'll have to see what happens with that. But yeah, it sure is nice just having artillery able to cover everything. And speaking of which, this nest is entirely too close. So let's set up a nice solid defensive area down here. So let's get some walls in, and then we're going to get a substation in. Alright, what are we losing there? More solar panels over in this area. Okay, well, it's a good thing I put those laser turrets there, but it looks like we're going to need even more. So let's just get even more laser turrets right there. So this area, we want to get the walls placed in first, because probably the moment the laser turrets show up, the biters are going to go crazy. And then once the laser turrets are in, then we're going to put in an artillery piece and get that all finished off. Alright, so the drones are coming down here with the walls. And the substation should also be in here somewhere. There we go. Alright, so that is all set up. They found more belts to destroy on Gleba. Probably in that corner down on the bottom left. Okay, now we can get a whole bunch of laser turrets in. And then we're going to give the drones a little bit of time to get a head start on that before we put an artillery piece down in this corner. So where are the drones with the laser turrets? Here they are. So those should definitely be in by the time the artillery gun is in. So let's just pop you into there. And that should now be secure, although this might... It's probably not within minimum range. We might need to get like this gun up here to shoot down to here if that becomes an issue. Alright, laser turrets are in. Biters don't seem to care yet. That's good. Let's see if we could just get a second row of walls in, actually, because this is like a very serious biter nest. So I don't know if those walls will get here before the artillery ammo makes all these go crazy, but if they do, then that will be very useful. Somehow there are still drones on Gleba to be destroyed. Good for them, I guess. Okay, now Vulcanus. How is Vulcanus doing? Still got plenty of coal. Although it is starting to run out. It looks like it's going pretty slow. Need Gleba before doing Fulgora? Yeah, that's gonna be the plan. We're gonna go back, we're gonna recover Gleba, and then head out to Fulgora once that's all sorted. Although we have another couple of things that I want to do before that, like getting nuclear power set up and everything. Speaking of which, how is this going? Still just filling your own internal buffer. So you make apparently like 0.05 per second, which is not terribly fast, but is probably... Yeah, we need that to be better, actually. So I guess we're going to want a couple of these set up. Yeah, we're gonna need a better uranium processing system. But yeah, it is going. It just hasn't gotten any to actually make nuclear fuel cells yet. But it is looping around, so that's cool. Then Vulcanus is out of coal again. Even with 2 rockets, it burns through the coal pretty dang fast. Probably doesn't help that Vulcanus Support 2 is getting a whole bunch of stuff launched up, probably. How's Vulcanus Support 1 doing? Do we have any Speed Module 3s? No. Still, none of those have gotten delivered. Alright. Well, this is going. It's going to be a while before we make any meaningful progress on it. Like, we need this to be able to just do 2 loops in a row, basically. Which will take quite a while. Fortunately, we've got plenty of uranium-238. We don't really need to worry about doing almost any actual uranium mining. The stuff we have will last basically forever. Alright, so if that's still getting set up, this is just a couple minutes out from not having any bioflux, and then once that happens, our Productivity Module 3 supply will probably die. Okay, looks like all the drones might have just gone away there on Gleba. That's not surprising. Now let's look back down at this corner, which, yeah, seems successful to me. I mean, that immediate nest there is gone. Alright, they found a couple more things to destroy there. Alright, let's get a radar down here just so I can see what the heck is going on. Because I can see like 1 inch past my my factory in this area, and I don't like not having that much vision. Right, so now we're shooting all the way down to there. So that all goes out. And it unfortunately takes a couple shots just to kill the worms. But it's not like we're low on ammo. How much ammo do we have? We've got 47 in logistics storage, probably the resources to keep it crafting as well. So that should be fine. This blue science is still getting used at a semi-reasonable rate. Blue circuits are piling up now. Okay, let's limit that. I like having a big stockpile of it, but I probably don't need that big of a stockpile. Okay, this got attacked from that angle, which is not surprising. But it looks like it's holding. Although we might need laser turrets in this area if the biters are going to get distracted and go after the panels. But if they're just going to rush the walls here, then that's not a concern. Although it is technically, you might want that to be double walled and have a couple of you in there. That's funny to just watch them just walk along the solar panels. Yeah, okay, so they did manage to breach the walls, but only just. And okay, that's bad. We lost the substation. And basically all of the laser turrets in the area were depending on that substation. So until that gets back, this place is sort of in a world of hurt. Theoretically, some of them should be able to access this substation, right? Okay, let's try to just get rid of these guys. We have other artillery up there that can take these shots. Alright, and we're going to need a shot right there on our own walls. Using artillery against just actual biters and not nests is crazy, but there we go. Alright, those biters seem to have left. They must have gotten antagonized by that other strike there. And we just need... Okay, we have power back. The substation was rebuilt. Now, if we can just get these laser turrets placed frequently enough, we can regain control over this situation. Alright, so that is clear now. And let's get another substation just like up there so that we're not entirely reliant on that one thing. And it seems like that is actually just going to connect down to that one, which isn't ideal. Alright, so with the extra defenses in, we have more lasers, we have double thick walls. This should be all clear again. And we just have to replace all the stuff that was destroyed, but this should be intact. Alright, so that's all fine. This area seems like it got hit as well. It's got its... Right, so it's got its own gun, and it was one of the ones helping us out with this. Alright, so now this is a pretty easy wave, I think. Yeah, those are just going to get zapped trying to get through the trees. Alright, back over here. This has 9 uranium immediately after starting the cycle. So we might get to the point where we have some uranium-235 going over this way. Maybe. This corner is still all chaos. This gun probably just needs better defenses. Which, there's not that much. I mean, we have a lot of laser turrets in this area. So it should be fine, aside from like weirdo attacks that like go through the solar panels or something. Alright, so this, it's got its gun, which isn't doing anything of interest. And this is still looping around. Still, internal buffer hasn't been entirely filled. So this is up to 53 to spare. It's not exactly the world's quickest process, is it? We might... Let's see here. We might want to do more like fresh refining, although that has its own problems too. Let's see, if we just get another one of you down here and have you take from both of those belts. We just need to hope that this doesn't create a situation where both of them are half full. So that would be quite awkward. And then we also need to worry about getting this output. So you need to have, I guess we have to do it something like this. And then this is not the best way of doing this, but it is a way of doing this. So then that loops around to there. This... Okay, this needs to loop around to there. Alright. That's incredibly weird. And it looks like they are attacking from this side and getting a lot more success. So let's see if we can just get a little bit of coverage in here with those dragon's teeth things. That should improve security from that side a little bit. And this gun is still got shots to take. And the walls are back in. Alright, so that's fine. That seems to be going decently well, at least. Meanwhile, all the drones on Gleba are getting wiped out. Okay, so let's get you set up to also do Covrex enrichment, so that we can do that. So now you are doing all that stuff. And hang on, how do you... Okay, so you definitely need productivity modules and speed modules. Although the way I've designed this is not really... I might be able to take that power pole out. Yeah, so I can take that power pole out, put that one in, get the speed modules going. And now this is still able to run while this is filling up. So now we have both of them running. And that should be good. Alright. Yeah, this place is still getting attacked. But it's looking a lot better now. And eventually, we're going to run out of biters to shoot out. It's going to take a while because it takes multiple shots per worm and spawner, and there are a whole lot of them. But that's almost dealt with. And how's the resources for crafting new shells going? Because that's going to be the concern. We have plenty of calcite, plenty of tungsten. and explosives are actually a little bit sketch, but I think they're just kind of like that. Yeah, this is going fine. It's just not the world's fastest machine. I think it's like marginally slower than the demand at max rate. So there we go. Yeah, the spiders are not getting very far through. But they are sort of going crazy here. What is it about this corner in particular that there's just way more biters here than like basically any other artillery spot I've made? I don't know why that is. Okay, that was no problem. That forest there is lovely. All right, all the drones on Gleba are going away now. And okay, apparently this corner is intact, and someone came and put a radar in so that I can see. And I guess it makes sense that this corner is attacked because this is where I put the rocket turrets. So yeah, apparently 2 groups of 2 rocket turrets, not enough to fend off a pentapod. And somehow this is still mostly okay. But yeah, everything else is completely dark. So you look like you just finished shooting. How is the cycling going? It's certainly going. We're getting, what, 0.05 per second there. 0.03 per second there. So yeah, not the world's fastest. We can squeeze in another beacon to get this guy going faster. Might as well. Every random place that we can put a beacon helps. Alright, so that is that. We don't need to be centrifuging more. I mean, it adds like almost nothing. Okay, artillery shell damage 2 done. Hopefully that'll get some more one-shots on something or other. And let's see, we might be able to do some of this. Let's see here. I suspect that we don't have any agricultural science. Yeah, that's looking like a solid straight downwards trajectory. So yeah, I was just doing that to check. We're going to take that out and queue up. What are we going to queue up? How about laser shooting speed? Laser shooting speed is always nice to have. Alright. How long is this refining loop going to take to actually get any of the uranium past this? It should be soon, right? We haven't made a single nuclear fuel. But let's just make the power plant now. We have a nice big open area up here. So, nuclear reactor. I'm pretty sure we started crafting these. So let's just do a 2x2, and then the belts go up past it, and then it feeds that, and then we get the outputs back. Okay, some weird area got hit that's different from normal because I saw a gate being damaged. That's probably... I mean, that might be an issue. It also might be totally fine. I don't know. Alright, so then these need to output the waste stuff, and then we need to get a splitter for... Why did you do that? We need to get a splitter for that so that the fuel can then go from just one spot back here. And this is going to request uranium fuel cells. Alright, then we take this stuff back. We just merged that up. And you then can get that. Alright, so that is everything except the boilers. And yeah, more drones on Gleba are exploding all the time. That's probably just going to keep happening for the foreseeable future. So we can get a substation in there. And then connect you up via power pole to that. And that should get this whole thing. And then we just need... Do we have water anywhere at all near this? No, it doesn't look like it. So maybe this isn't the best spot. Although, actually, we have a random water pipe here that we can use. Yeah, that should be fine. Alright, so we need to get... What are we doing? We need to get the heat exchangers in. And let's just start... Let's actually have this be sort of over here, because I do want to expand this up to sort of like a 2x row of reactors. That's just still stuff on Gleba, right? Yeah. Just need to make sure that that's not randomly some catastrophe happening on Novice that I'm just ignoring because I assume it's nothing important. Alright, so we get a whole bunch of those. And we get a whole bunch of steam turbines. That power pole is probably important. Actually, no, it might not be. We might be able to just take that out and have it be fine. Yeah, it's connected around that way as well. Alright, now if I remember correctly, these guys get 2 each, and I can probably just power them with substations. Right, so this is 100. Right, so this is 103 steam output. These guys can take up to 60 each. So 2 turbines per heat exchanger should be enough. And let's just get those all in. And this is probably not like the correct amount of turbines, but we'll figure out the math later. For now, I just want to have some. So now we just have to cover this area with those, and then... Okay, if this is going to be our nuclear power plant, this needs to be better secured. So let's get that in, and then let's get some artillery to clear out the area. And the artillery can be back here, because this is a better fortified area than this is. And that should still cover like most of the area. Like it should get rid of that guy up there. Alright, so we need to get the water into that. So where is our water pipe? Here it is. So you go up this way and up this way, past some tracks. Okay, so that is this guy starving, which actually that just got attacked by random unrelated biters. Okay, let's make that extra walled then and get in few more laser turrets, which we are going to need soon anyways. Because this is, like, maybe in the process of popping. Actually, somehow we still have this with, like, 19 seconds to go. So this, we managed to get up to 50-some spare productivity modules. This guy is about to pop, and then we're going to have to destroy it. But that's fine. We'll be able to get that back later. Alright, so where is our water pipe? Water pipe is right here. And apparently needs to go a little bit further up before it can go underground here. Actually, apparently that's the intersection is just barely too long, so you're going to have to come down this way. And then you should be able to cross here, no problem. And then we're probably going to have to add a pump on this, because this is going to be an insanely long pipeline. Alright, so that goes up to there. And now we don't have to worry about tracks anymore. We just have to get you up to there. Alright. What's your pipeline extent? Okay. Because I forgot that, not very far, although this pipeline extent isn't much either. So we should be able to just connect that in and then have our water supply all the way up. And still no nuclear fuel. So these guys are still cooking. It's going very slowly. Alright, looks like this corner is mostly under control now. You've got plenty of backup shells and just nothing to shoot at anymore. So that's good. This one up here seems to have finished shooting, although I want to do some manual shots up into that area because that looks suspicious. Okay, it's nothing. There was just previously a nest there. Alright, so that's all good. Now, these guys all have their water, and we just need... Oh, we need to get the heat pumps connected across. Actually, that's... I built this too close, didn't I? Yeah, I did. We're gonna need to cut that and move it like one tile over, basically, so that we have room to run the heat pipe in front of it. So where are those? Why are those under production? They should be under logistics. Alright, anyways, so that all gets connected up, and then yeah, I think you just go across like that and it's fine. And that needs to get placed back. Alright, so this, once this all gets placed up, it should be ready to go except for the fuel, which we still have none of. So here come the heat pipes, and half of them turned around last second because of course they did. Alright, back down here, this is still working. Yeah, these guys are still going. And, okay, it looks like we got some through to there. Did I just, like, barely miss it? No, these guys aren't running. And I don't see a drone. Yeah, no, that's just an unrelated artillery drone. But it looks like this might do something soon. Let's see here. Does any of this get past? No, it does not. It should eventually. Can we productivity module U? Yes, we can. That's going to be incredibly valuable, because this is definitely going to be limited on its amount of production that it can do based on the amount of uranium-235 we're producing here. So we can get those productivity modules in, and that will be good. Then this just keeps... I didn't even give this an inserter. So it can't accept uranium-235 right now, even if it wanted to. Alright, let's get that in, because it is going to need it eventually, and by the time the uranium-235 is getting to here, we'll have enough that it should be fine. Alright. When's it gonna happen? I'm not gonna keep staring at it. We're gonna find something else to look at. So, like, what's this up here? You got attacked. Do you have... Okay, you do have artillery, but it's sort of down there a little bit. So let's see about just clearing out some of these guys up here real quick. The range on manual selection artillery is so insanely massive. Like, you can just shoot basically anywhere. Alright, so that nest is... Well, the meaningful parts of it are gone. There's still worms there, but who cares? Okay. Right, so these guys around here are because this is where... How is that still going? I don't get it. Whatever. We're not going to worry about it. We are just going to take... We might just take artillery shell range. Artillery shell range is a fun research, which is going to cause the biters to be very upset, but will be helpful in the long run. Alright, I've looked away from this for 5 seconds. Has it done anything? Doesn't look like it. It looks like they're still just looping the uranium-235 around with themselves. That's fine. They can just continue to do that. Alright, so what else do we want to do? Let's see here. Spidertron is something, obviously, but I suspect that's going to be somewhat difficult to get set up. Where is the Spidertron? That's in logistics, because it's technically transportation. So we need 2 portable fission reactors, a rocket turret, and some other stuff. Now, the rocket turret is the problem there. So we had rocket turret production, but it was all on Gleba, and Gleba is no more. So I guess we're going to have to go back to Gleba to get that. And then there's all these uranium rounds and stuff that we can make, I guess. Which, like, how much does that do? Let's see. So this is like 8 plus 9.6. Uranium rounds are insane. Okay, that's a lot of damage. And then the uranium cannon shells are good, solid, twice as good. Okay, Gleba, how are you destroying everything on Gleba again? Like, what happened? Oh, I see, you finally got around to attacking this side of things. And so you just were able to face tank my last rocket turrets, and that is now gone. Alright, I'm surprised that it took him that long to get around to it, if he was going to at all, to be honest. But that's that. Alright, over here on Vulcanus, things are relatively peaceful. We're still not enough coal. This uses a lot of coal, apparently. Apparently I hadn't quite respected how much coal it took to get anything done on Vulcanus. It's also possible Vulcanus Support 2 isn't really... No, it looks like Vulcanus Support 2 is doing a good amount of coal production. Like up to 500 for how short it is on its journey is pretty decent. Alright. How's power going on Novice? Totally fine. No issues there. Yeah, we're actually full most of the day. And, okay, these guys are running, which means we are getting nuclear fuel. So that's huge. How much does this produce? This produces a lot per chunk of uranium. So even though we don't have that many chunks of uranium, we're still getting a lot. And, I mean, that must have been just like 1 or 2 runs worth of this. Because we still don't have this actually doing anything on like an average loop. But, yeah, I mean, so that's the steam turbines, which is going to be hard to tell the difference between the new steam turbines and like the old rocket fuel powered steam turbines. But it is going to be something. So now let's go up here and figure out how many of these we actually need. So these guys are 120 megawatts each, and I imagine that they can't be like overclocked or anything. So this is 480 megawatts. And these guys are 10 each. So we theoretically would need 48 heat exchangers. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so we need to just copy this whole block, flip you horizontally so that no weird stuff happens, and place you in there. And then we're going to need to connect the heat pipes across as well, so we can do that. And that will be like half of the output that these reactors can handle, and then I guess we'll just add another row past it over here. So it's not ideal, and actually we're going to need to re-copy paste this to get it to line up properly, because we don't want the belts in this. So we just get you in like this, I guess. And then we need one more, which we might be able to just push this wall up north a little bit more. Okay, let's connect the water up to those. And wait, this water was never connected up when I shifted it over a little bit. That is rather silly of me. So let's just fix that real quick. And yeah, we have 4 depleted uranium fuel cells. So that's pretty cool. And hopefully the water here is enough. I don't know how this water pipe works. Is this the water pipe that feeds the entire base off of this one thing? That's like 1200 water. How much water does this use? This uses 10 each. So like, alright, so hardly any realistically compared to how much water we produce. Alright, that's fine. Let's get our laser wall blueprints because we need more space. And let's just move this up to here. Alright, so with that area covered, and let's just get like one more there just to make sure. Then that loops back down to here. What's that? That's just whatever is left of Gleba going away. That's probably going to happen. It seems like that's probably going to happen another couple of times, apparently. Alright, so then Okay, this is technically very risky to do, so let's get the new drone port in before we dismantle all of our defenses right by our nuclear power plant. So that is that. This one has spare fuel, these ones don't. So I don't know how much spare uranium-235 we're actually getting here. It should be a lot once it gets up to that point. Alright, so the drone port is in, and it's powered, which means that now all this stuff is going to get built. And apparently we need another one, which we can actually squeeze it in there. And then another one there, just so that this whole area is covered. And then let's connect the power up, because that's important. So now that whole thing will get built, and then this will start happening. And speaking of things that needs to get built, what have I done there? You all go away, and we just have that connecting across. Alright, so that should heat up. And yeah, so these are now working to produce some amount of power, although not much is needed because of the massive solar panels that we have everywhere. So if this is 480 megawatts, these... So we have 48 of these rows. Technically we only have 36 right now, but we're going to add in another one, which means we have 96 steam turbines, which can be 5.8 megawatts each. So yeah, that's a lot of power. And looks like this expansion did end up upsetting the biters. So we are going to need to get these power poles in before we can do anything with this. Yeah, they once again have prioritized building absolutely everything except the power poles that we need to actually make it all work. There we go. So that's functional now. And that is probably a mostly adequate set of defenses, at least for the short term. So now we can tear this wall out, and yeah, those power poles are going to have to go too, and then we can get another one of these guys in up here, which, let's see, we want the heat pipe to be as close as possible, so just something like that. And then you just connect up to there, and I guess up to there. Alright, so that is that. Actually, I want this to be fully enclosed. So let's make that happen. And then we get the corners in. We're gonna make this whole front bit extra thick. And that should be secure enough. So there we go. And now we just need to get the water pipe up like that. And then that should be everything for our 2x2 nuclear power plant. And at some point in the distant future, we'll have to upgrade this to be even bigger, which we can put more reactors in this space in here. And that should be more than enough. We don't need an insane amount of power. We just need a lot. Alright, so how is this going? These are now both producing around the clock. I guess I can, like, fit more centrifuges up here, maybe? That could be an option. Although we won't even have access to the uranium-238 up there quite so much. But, yeah, that should be fine. So let's just get a bunch of you guys in. And you all are going to be Covrex enrichment. And you need to take from there, output to there. And then you're going to want to be productivity moduled. And okay, wait, no, you need to have the inputs here as well, which apparently I already did. Why is it letting me place that again? Are those actually there? No, there's just a part on the centrifuge that looks exactly like an inserter, apparently. Alright, so those are their inputs. Then we just need these to have outputs, which, let's see, did I think this through? Okay, yeah, this can work if we move that out. Then these can output back here, and that should be fine. Not steel chest, no. We need output belt, output there, and then we need to copy paste those settings so that we have the filters. Alright, we've also managed to apparently take out a very important substation, so let's put that back in, like there and there. Those two should cover it. Alright, so that is going and should be fine. As long as we didn't... Okay, we have a whole bunch in this box now, which might cause some problems, but it should be okay. So then we need this. So this is the 238 output. So we need you to go down to... Actually, wait, no, we need you to, like, go up to this. The 238 output is this belt here. So if you just go up to there, that works. And then, if this one, that new substation is also just conveniently exactly where I want to place it, but okay, we can, if we move, this is the most unhinged thing ever, if we move that over to there, then this can go through there, and then you can go across to there while you go up to there, and then that should work. I think that works, as long as we can keep these machines running now that we have this going. And these guys are all going to be relatively slow because we only have, like, yeah, we have no beacons on them. So we can squeeze a beacon in there. We really need the higher quality beacons to be able to reach through this area. But I guess you can just get a speed module beacon. And why is there a steel plate on this belt? Oh, I think that was just, like, sitting there on the ground for no apparent reason. So let's just get rid of it. Okay. We seem to have broken it again. So now it's all... Yeah, so now we need we need some 238 to get up to there, which I guess we can just connect that across, and maybe that'll be okay. I have no idea if that'll work or not, but it's worth a shot at least. So these three all have the ability to run. Wait, no. These two have the ability to run, and they can run twice each. Okay, how much? So these guys produce like 0.13 which should be enough to run a couple of these guys up here once this belt gets placed in and we can get this jump started again. I don't know how well this is going to work in terms of like getting the loop to work properly, but we will get this going, and we might end up burning enough uranium-238 to get the actual processing started again, which would be a bit weird, but probably fine. Alright, so this is now going, and these should be producing their uranium-235, which will then loop right past them in this area. And so these guys are going to be doing most of the work, I guess. Okay, how do we... Can we fix this so that it works better? Maybe, but might not need to. This might work as is. I guess we'll have to see. Expanding the Cobrex enrichment is... I should probably just like get a good organized scalable blueprint for this, because I might want a lot of it. I guess we'll see. So for now we have like infinite steam turbine power, almost as much as the solar panel power. And yeah, so this is just going to be looping around within this group of 4. Eventually it should send some stuff down over this way. But yeah, so right now the problem is the uranium-238 is just going to constantly be in the way. So let's undo that and figure out a better way of getting this uranium-238 up to where it needs to be. So we have our storage here of 238, which feeds all that, but doesn't run unless it needs to. Okay, let's also just make these bulk inserters, because that'll be a lot faster. So we need... Okay, maybe if we take that connection out and pop that connection in, and then let's see, neither of these then go to there. Instead they go up to here, and this then loops around to that. We take that out. So now this belt of 238 coming from our storage goes around and... Okay, no. It needs to not connect across. So the belt of 238 coming from the storage goes around and up to this, which provides the uranium for these rows. Maybe? Does this work? So that goes up there and into here. Yeah. And then the output uranium which is going onto this belt, then loops up around that way. Okay, but this output uranium now doesn't work properly. So this belt needs to get removed. And you need to also just go up this way and over there. Alright, so the output from the centrifuges all goes up to this belt, which then loops it back around into the whole system. The excess uranium from storage, meanwhile, goes up into this belt, which just feeds these machines to keep them running. Okay, I think that works. I think that should have just about cracked it. And now we just need to let this cook for a little bit. Vulcanist support 2 is stopped at novice. But I'm not sure why. What are you doing here? Are you stuck? Yes, you're stuck. You don't have any iron. This... Oh, right. This is a thing that I did end up needing to have. So we need this belt moving in order to do anything. And one of the things that we need to do is generate thruster oxidizer so that we can actually move. So let's just make that fix. And this bulk inserter needs to clear enough junk off of the belt for this to all function. Vulcanist support has that upgrade, and it is working properly. Now, how often does this run, like, under ordinary circumstances? I'm hoping the answer is very infrequently. Because we don't want to be wasting resources at all. I wonder if there's a clever way of telling if the belt is empty or not. Because it would be cool to be able to just only have this filter out items if the belt was entirely jammed. But I don't know how possible that is. Might have to just keep doing it like this. Alright, so this belt is now moving along much better. Although it's still a bit of a work in progress, we do have enough stuff to move at least. So that's fixed. This, we only have 2 of these centrifuges running. This is down to like 4.4K. Okay, let's set this to be... How much storage can this be in total? 100 per stack, so 4.8K. So if we set this to be like 4.7K, and we do the same thing there, so that will basically keep this last box mostly full. And this will, I mean, it'll make a very marginal difference. At the end of the day, it shouldn't really matter either way. Let's see here. What's going on up here? These guys are still running somehow, and it looks like there's some sort of traffic jam with these guys. Like, where are you trying to go? You are trying to go down. Alright, I think... Oh, we're missing signals in this area. You get a signal. You need to be a chain signal. And then we need... Alright, we do have a block signal there. We need a block signal like there. And we definitely need a block signal there and a chain signal there. Alright, so those signals should get that problem solved, hopefully. Although I think we still need a couple. You are saying cannot divide segments. Well, okay, I think that signal there is too far up, and that's the problem. Let's move you further down. So then that is a block. This is a different block. Wait, no, there's a... That's where the train stop is. Ooh, that might be a problem. That might be an issue. It's weird that it hasn't shown up already. Okay, it looks like, at least for now, the trains have figured it out. So that's fine. It's weird that that problem happened when it was fine for so long. Alright, so this is filling back up, which is cool. These two machines are still running. And they're just picking up all the stuff that they output and then giving some over to these machines. Alright, now we have 4 of these centrifuges running at once. That's pretty awesome. So 4 centrifuges running at once. We should be getting, what, how much? This one is 0.3. These ones are 0.2 each. So that's like 0.9 per second. Or 0.09 per second, obviously. It would be wonderful if it were 0.9 per second, but that's not happening anytime soon. So that should be going up. Now we just need to get these to the point where they're not accepting more uranium-235 so that all of their output can just be passed on. But that will be a little bit. Both the Vulcanist supports are heading over at approximately the same time, which is pretty suboptimal. But I guess it's fine. They've both got a lot of coal on them. Alright, as far as the biters, it's pretty much just this corner up here, which we need to deal with. And that, okay, yeah, so that's just a regular old biter spawner. Yeah, we're gonna have to get rid of you. Protected from automated shooting. Shift plus spacebar can be used to shoot it manually. Okay, well... Oh, actually we might be able to just artillery it. And that's probably going to destroy a bunch of laser turrets and stuff, but it's fine. Alright. Boom. And... boom. Alright, so that's gone. And... let's just replace that with an artillery piece itself. So there we go. That is in. And hopefully the replacement laser turrets will also show up pretty soon. So that should keep us secure from that side, unless the artillery supply is bad, but the artillery supply looks good to me. Yeah, we got plenty of all that stuff. And let's let ourselves stockpile a lot more explosives. That seems like a good idea in case we run out of them during the artillery production. So that is going. The uranium is back down to only 2 of these running, unfortunately. They seem to have hogged all the uranium-238. But yeah, that should just get done pretty soon. And this has successfully turned off because our supply of uranium-238 got too high, so that should keep us nice and balanced. So what else is there to do? we need to... Let's see here. What do we need to do? How's science going? Science is only at 23 per minute. And that is because of military science. Alright, so what is wrong with military science? These guys in here. And they are producing, but... Okay, so this one on the edge is past the provider chest, which means it's not helping at all. So let's move the provider chest up to there and give you a power pole. So let's do that, and then this one's output full, but these two are short on grenades, it looks like. So, how is our grenade supply? We need, theoretically, 0.36 grenades for that. And they're coming in on this belt all the way down... How do they get on that belt? Oh, it must be over this way? Yes, alright, I see grenades here. So this is... It's got plenty of all the inputs. We just need you to be speed moduled to get more grenades. And yeah, just iron plates and coal should be fine. And 0.15 outputs. We might need bulk inserters now that it's speed moduled, just to physically get stuff off the belts fast enough. But yeah, so now that's up to 0.34 per second, which is pretty good. So that is going. And then our military science up here is now able, they're all able to contribute. And let's get them a full set of modules. So that's productivity and speed. Where is a beacon? I can't find one in this entire area. So you get some beacons which can just sneak in down there and get speed modules. Alright, so now these are way less productive, but then they're going to get the speed modules and shoot through the roof again. So there we go. Modules, where are the modules? There we go. So now these are up to 0.58 per second, and we're not going to have the grenades to do this, even with that one being speed moduled. And we might also run out of walls or something. How many walls do we make? Wall production is 1.5 per second. We can easily improve that just by upgrading you to the most recent type of assembler. So that's 2.5 walls per second, which is well more than we need. Okay, we can actually... We should still have enough modules to make those Productivity Mark IIIs, and that should be helpful. Alright, so now it's kind of wobbly and weird, but it seems to be spiking a lot higher now, which is pretty cool. So we have that set up. Vulcanus Support 2 is here. Okay, Vulcanus Support 2 is over Vulcanus, but we're not sending any coal down. No, wait, did we just... Yes, we did just send some coal down. So what is taking you so long? Are the logistics bots here not keeping up, or what? Yeah, we might have problems with the logistics bots, maybe. The power is doing fine. Yeah, it looks like we physically need more cargo bays. So let's just add a couple more in that general vicinity. And then, I mean, all the drones have to go to this one spot. Alright, artillery range upgrade. That's good. Let's see what else is there. I guess we can... We don't need steel plate productivity 6. That's insanely expensive. It doesn't do all that much. Let's unlock the atomic bomb. That will be fun. Okay. So, one thing that we can do is this belt here doesn't do anything. So, if the problem is what I think it is, which is that we don't have enough like slots in the drone activity, we can set you guys all up to filter coal, and all you do that. Okay, Novice is going crazy with our artillery range upgrade, but it looks like we're holding out. So that was the first artillery range upgrade, right? And the automatic range gets plus 67. Alright, yeah, that is a lot. It looks like we're holding, though. Losing a lot of walls and a couple of laser turrets. But we are holding out a little bit. It's kind of sketch, but looks fine. Alright, so then these get to all have passive provider chests. So then they can fill those with coal. And if that is the problem, then that will solve it. And yeah, Novice is under a lot of pressure, understandably. Let's get... Just in case the charging is the issue, like there are a lot of drones here waiting to charge. Let's just get in a couple extra drone ports in there, midway between the two. So that should increase the ability of the drones to charge, which should move them through faster. And... okay, so now they're taking from these spots, and let's just take the random space platform foundations out of those so that they can be nice and organized. Alright, so that's set up. And the carbon is flowing now. And we're about to receive even more, which is pretty neat. Meanwhile, Vulcanist Support 2 really hasn't gotten much of anything launched to it. And why is that? Oh, your request isn't assigned. That makes sense. We will set that up, because having that be able to go both ways will be helpful. Alright, so this is all going. That's fine. Back on Novice. Alright, it's kind of quiet for now. It's probably not going to last very long. Yeah, we were just sort of in between waves there. But we are fending them off. I haven't seen any like actual machines that I care about be destroyed. I haven't seen any power poles be destroyed, which is typically the sign that things are going wrong. So that is pretty nice. Now let's check back here on the nuclear side. We are still cycling our uranium. It's getting there. We have 3 active at the moment. 2 of which have the ability to run extra times. Yeah, so the uranium cycling it's just doing its thing slowly but surely. Up here we have 59 productivity modules to spare. And we might be out of ammunition. Yeah, so we have the supplies to craft more, but we are burning through as fast as we can, which is not surprising. We might want, just to prevent that from happening, let's get even more boxes so that if we have stuff to shoot, we can store up a ton of shells all at once. So that'll be marginally helpful. And speaking of things that are marginally helpful, how is the Foundation Crafter going? It's going well. And these rockets are all built up. So I should probably start on the next space platform, because I have another plan. So this is going to be the rocket launcher. And that's going to get launched above Novice. And the idea there is that that is going to be a space platform which produces like blue circuits and the other things that we need to launch rockets, so that we can get that stuff going more easily. And hopefully that will be relatively solid to set up. The biter attacks are continuing to go. And we are shooting at random worms up this way. Alright. I've just realized that rocket launcher is a somewhat deceptive name for this, but that's fine. Alright, so I have a blueprint for this, right? I have space platform engines. Did I ever get... No, I never made a blueprint for all of the support stuff all at once, I don't think. Unless I did, actually. Do I have just like random blueprints in there? No. Okay. So, we go to rocket launcher, and you have the engines set up, the same engine set up as these guys, right? No, Vulcanist support is very different. You have the same engine set up as Gleba support. Yeah, okay, so that's fine. So this, as long as this works for Gleba support, it should be okay. So that's your engines. Next, we need the ammunition production, which... Where was the ammunition production on this? Right, it's this whole thing over here. So let's copy this. And then paste it over to rocket launcher. So we have that, and then we just need to finish this with the belts going in like that. Okay, then we need to get the iron processing, which there's no way that this is the most efficient way of doing this, actually. No, I'm just going to design this from scratch. How much does this need? This is like 1.3-ish each. And there's like 12 of them, so it's like 12 by 13. So it's going to be like, let's just round to 15-ish iron ore that we have to put into this per second. So we go back to rocket launcher, and we just get some crushers. which we can just put... Let's just put these up here for now, and you are going to be metallic asteroid crushing, which... Okay, apparently just like 2 of these at baseline will be enough. So that covers all of that. Then we need all of this stuff to be done, which is going to require like 2 ice, another little bit of iron and carbon, and like what, 0.4 calcite. Okay, but then we also need the big thing that we're doing here. We need the ability to produce blue circuits, and we need to produce... Actually, rocket fuel is in a chemical plant, right? Yeah, so let's get you in, unless you aren't in a chemical plant. Combat, flamethrower ammo, no, we don't want that. Oh, you might? Let's see here. Is rocket fuel in one of these? Yes, it is. It's in an assembler. And then we need... Well, low-density structures are actually just in a foundry. That's going to be better, unless... Yeah, so the foundry can go here. And we can't do metallurgic science out of this, but we can do low-density structures. So, actually, we need to... Let's just connect that up so that it will start requesting for construction. Because we're going to need to do a bunch of launches to get this thing going. We might as well get those foundations up now. And for that same reason, we might as well just sort of get this whole internal area covered, just so that it can be launching foundations while we do all of our design stuff. And we're going to need a lot of space for this anyways, so something like that. I don't know. So, now we need to go back down to Novice and figure out how fast we need. We need like 0.43 of each to launch 1 rocket silo continually with a single beacon and full productivity modules. So, let's go with 0.5 of each. Yeah, let's go with 0.5 of each as our benchmark. Just round up a little bit, which for this will just mean like 1 machine. So you get that, and we might as well get this connected up because we're going to need to launch these things up here anyways at some point. Likewise with that. Alright, so we need this machine, and I wish the beacons would show... I wish it would show like how the beacons and everything affected things. I guess we can check that on the surface. So somewhere in this area we have something making low density structures, right? Yes. So you are full productivity modules with speed, and you're making 0.96 low density structures per second. So we're going to need fewer than that, a lot fewer than that. We're still going to need like some speed modules probably. So let's just set up like a theoretical, right? So if we do something like that, but then you can also have like an efficiency module in there. And it's annoying that it has to actually get built and placed and everything to show the affected rates, but it'll be fine. So this should be 0.45. We just need to get it like slightly higher to get to 0.5. So let's get the speed module in. Yeah, so this is 0.54 per second. So this is what we need. We need 1 foundry with the speed module and an efficiency module to cut the power demand a little bit. I mean, it does what it can, right? And then we need like 1.4 plastic, 22 molten iron, 70 molten copper. Okay, so then the next thing that we need, which again we're just going to try out here. If we have you, and you're going to be productivity moduled, and you're going to be, let's assume that these are double beaconed. So we have this set up. How much is this? We need to get the beacons in, and then I guess we'll also set up our, what's it called? Rocket fuel. So we get you with, again, productivity modules. And, oh, you're going to need a lot. So let's get you also, I don't know. It seems wasteful to be redesigning stuff slightly to fit this. But if we get you in, so you're double beaconed. Alright, so these are going to be 0.28, so we just need 2 of these, which is going to be like 10-ish green circuits, like 1-ish red circuits, and a bit of sulfuric acid. Then this is going to be, we're going to need 3 of these. Alright, can I just get like a display panel down? Simply so that I can write stuff down. Because I'm going to need to do math, because I don't want to build a whole bunch of extra things up there that I don't actually need. Alright, so for the low density structures, we need low density structures needs approximately 1.4 plastic, 23 molten iron, 70 molten copper. Right? Yeah, so that's all for that. Then, for these, we need, like, I mean, we're not going to be exactly specific on the numbers, but just in the ballpark. So, like, 10 green circuits, 1 red circuit, 2.5 sulfuric acid. Blue circuits, 10 green circuits, 2 red circuits, 2.5 sulfuric acid. Alright. And then for the rocket fuel, we're going to need 3, so like 4.5-ish solid fuel and light oil. Rocket fuel is 4.5 solid fuel, 4.5 light oil. Alright. So, let's see, can we get, can we like paste those settings up here as well? They won't show up when hovering them, but they at least are present here in the notes, so I don't have to go down there to look for it. Alright, so then we need to get the green circuits for that. So 10 green circuits, 2 red circuits. How much is that? So 10 green circuits is going to be 2-ish assemblers, which will be like 8 and okay, no, we need the red circuits. We need to make the red circuits out of green circuits. Okay, actually, let's just see if we can just build this up naturally, because we're probably going to be using a lot of efficiency modules. Although, no, we definitely want to be using productivity modules, because the resource numbers here are going to be annoying. Alright, well, let's just get red circuits next. So one red circuit machine using tier 2 productivity modules is 0.48. So we need 4 machines of this. Right? 0.48 times 4 is 2. Yes, we get 4 machines of that, which, let's see here. We're going to need those. We're going to need to do the beacons for this as well. So we have those, and this is all very much not how this is going to end up. Yeah, I don't even know why I'm doing this. Like, this is not what we need to be doing at all. Let's just go back to taking notes. So this is going to be 1 machine, 4 prod modules, beacon with 1 speed module. So then the blue circuits are, we set that up with, let's see here. Let's save those changes. So the blue circuit setup that we had, which we're looking at here, we need 2 machines with prod modules and speed beacons. So blue circuits are 2 machines with prod modules and 2 speed beacons. And rocket fuel was 3 machines with prod modules and speed beacons. Alright, let's just get some spaces in there so that I can read it. And then, so we have that. So we can save that. Then we need to just keep doing the math down the line. So 10 green circuits. No, we need to do red circuits next. So 2 red circuits is, if we go up to here, is 4 machines. And okay, now this math is more annoying. So it's gonna, because there are 3 things to deal with, and they're like 0.7s. So let's just go 4 machines, and we'll just wing it. It'll be fine. How much plastic are we gonna need? Like 4-ish. Okay, let's go 4. Round up to 4 for the plastics, even though they're not actually that. So red circuits. I keep clicking on Vulcanus instead of rocket launcher. Red circuits are less than 4 plastic, and green circuits, and then it's 1.55 times 4, which is like 3.5 wire. No, that's not right. It's 1.55 times 4 would be like 6 or 7. Let's go with 7 wire. Just round up a little bit right now so that we can make sure we get the numbers right. Alright, so we have that. Then that was 4 max machines, which we'll just know what that means. Alright, so that gives us that. Then we need to do our green circuits, which we need a total of 14 of. So how do we make 14 green circuits? That's going to be 3 max machines, which is going to be like, let's see here. So this one in the middle is faster. So 3 of these is going to be like 37.5 wire and like 13-ish iron. 3 max machines, 37.5 wire, and how much iron? I forgot already. I have bad memory. Like 13, right. 13 iron plates. Alright, so that is all noted down. And that all seems relatively reasonable. Like, it's going to be a lot, but not an insurmountable amount. So, the low-density structures seem like they should be fine, if assuming the plastic is fine. So yeah, let's calculate plastics. So plastic, we need 1.4 up there. We need 4 down here. So let's grab 5.5 plastic. If we could just go down to here where we make the plastic, that is going to be, I mean, pretty much just like one of these machines, right? So like 2-ish coal. We want to round it up a little bit because this is going to have to be a little bit faster. So like 2-ish coal, 45-ish petroleum gas. The 2 coal is not trivial, actually. That might be a bit of an issue. 2 coal and like 50 petroleum gas. I feel like I rounded that petroleum gas up too much. Probably the numbers are going to be very imprecise, but that's fine. Back down to novice. How's the launching going? Are these just going around the clock? Yes, they seem to be doing well, so that's good. Alright, so we have our notes down to plastic. Then, okay, let's just start building this stuff then, because it seems like it's going to be semi-reasonable. So let's start with the blue circuits because they're the most likely to actually become an issue. So if we can get like one thing online first, then I would want it to be the blue circuits. So we start off with our blue circuit production line, which is just you and I mean it's just this. And then we have 2 solid inputs and a fluid input. Don't know what the sulfuric acid is going to take, actually. But I'm sure it'll be fine. Hopefully. If it isn't fine, then that will stink, but what can you do? Alright, so the sulfuric acid input needs to be out here so that we have room for our output belt, which will be a long-handled inserter facing that way. Alright, so this is in like that. And boom and boom. Alright. Let's just get the modules sent up just in case. There we go. So we have those. And apparently the foundations have made good progress, so let's just keep letting them expand the foundations. We're going to need a lot of space here. Alright, so let's just give ourselves all that much space to work with to expand the modules out, to expand the foundations out. So, these are in. Next up, we need the red circuits, which is, how many of those did we say there was going to be? 4 max machines? Alright, so the red circuits can go like 1. They can go like that and get all those pasted in. And that's 2 machines. Let's copy paste that up to there. So now we have 4 machines. And this is... Okay, we can actually do better here. We can do better here in terms of beacon placement, probably. So how do we get these? It feels like there should be a way. Yes. Okay, I figured it out. So if we have you like that, and then you... Okay, you need to actually go up like that, but close enough. So if we just do something like that with our beacons, then we can actually just save on a beacon, because we have 2 machines, 2 beacons. That's good. That's all that we need. And then we can do the same thing up here with the other things. Alright, what's going on there? Nothing important. So we have our beacons set up like that. And that gets 2 machines. And then we can just copy paste this up to there to get another 2 machines. And these are all 4 maxed out machines. So now we need to get our solid inputs in, which is where this might get complicated, because we're going to have to do the whole underground belt thing. But you go up like this. Forgot that this doesn't automatically place when you're doing it like this. And also these belts, these underground belts are going to be all weird because of how this works. But just do that. And then this belt can just run normally. And then these belts can just run normally. Okay, then this one would come down and become that output. So you go like that. Let's put the module... No, not that. So you need to get productivity modules. And you need to get speed modules. There we go. And so then you take from this side and from this side as well, and you take from this side. Alright, so that is that. Now, okay, wait, actually I just thought of something. We can have this be the green circuit input, because that also needs green circuits as well as red circuits. Okay, yeah, wait. Let's have these actually flip around a little bit, maybe. So if we do like this, then this belt is the green circuit input, which goes into there. This belt is the red circuit input, which goes there. And that works out. So then these two are the plastic and the wire. Alright, so that is red circuits, and I think we're just going to keep working on the next immediate step. So the next immediate step for the blue circuits would be the sulfuric acid. So we need, how much did our notes say that we needed? 2.5 sulfuric acid. So let's get a, actually we need to check how much it's going to look like with modules in it. So okay, well, that's not going to be an issue. Creates approximately 1 billion. So we just need one with max productivity modules. So that's going to be pretty straightforward. So you go there, and you make sulfuric acid. So assuming we can get sulfur and water and iron plates up here, then that should be dramatically overkill in pretty much any quantities that it shows up. Alright. So then the next immediate step to this... Actually, I guess we should set up the belts for this. So you need just 2 solid inputs and a fluid input. So just as simple as that. And solid input 1, solid input 2. Alright. So this is the water pipe, and then we have an iron plate belt and a sulfur belt. Alright, so then the next thing is the green circuits. So how many green circuits are we going to need? We're going to need 3 maxed out machines. So is there any clever way of doing that with this sort of thing? Yeah, actually there should be. So if we get you up to there... Okay, we are losing drones now, and some solar panels actually are taking damage. That's just this area getting hit. That's fine. Not worried about that. As long as it can hold out, it can hold out. Alright. So back up to here, we have this, and we might actually... No, that's gonna be too close. Yeah, so that's going to be too close, unfortunately. So we are going to have to use fresh beacons for this. But if we do just something like this, and then you get to go in there. Alright, so that gives us 2 beaconed up machines, and we need a third. Now let's see if this works. I would not be surprised if it didn't. You're doing green circuits, which are only 2 inputs, which makes it a lot easier. So your output is that belt, right? So you just do that and that. Then this goes under there. And we take from there and there. And please line up correctly like that. Alright, so we need 1 more maxed out machine, which I guess means just another row of this, unfortunately. They don't share the machines quite as well in this setup, but that's fine. Alright, so then that just goes down to there. And gosh, I cannot get these belts facing in the correct direction at all. So then that goes like that. This is actually just getting its foundation as fast as we can launch it. So that's pretty cool. Let's fill in more space then. I don't know how much of this foundation is going to wind up in these exact locations, because we're going to be doing a lot of shuffling around once we have all of the basics figured out. Like how much space... Once we figure out how much space everything is going to need, we're going to shuffle things around so that they fit more compactly. Alright, so this is my green circuit setup. And you get all that stuff, and you get to not have a bunch of holes in there. Alright, so that is the green circuit production. And okay, some of these beacons are even showing up, which is pretty convenient. Alright, so this green circuits are done, and that should provide the blue circuits with everything they need immediately. So then our next step will be feeding the red circuits, which is going to require the plastic, but it's 456. So let's just do one more check down to here to see what's going on with these guys, and they are still grinding. This Covarex enrichment process really is not the fastest thing in the world. That's for sure. I thought it would be good by now. It looks like we're getting 3 of these running relatively comfortably. More like 2 full-time, this one like half-time, and then that's almost going. Okay, so this corner is getting attacked for some reason. There's not even artillery there. This corner is getting attacked. Let's just make the lasers here deeper, because like this corner in particular is getting hit the hardest, and all these lasers are still close enough to help, so that'll be good. This artillery turret has 1 spare shot and isn't shooting it. So has the artillery stabilized? Looking somewhere in here. No, it has not, until we get more tungsten plates, which appear to be incoming on Vulcanist support. Not Vulcanist support 2, that one's useless, but Vulcanist support will be bringing tungsten plates back to get more ammo, and everything else appears to be doing well. Alright, so the ammunition is fine. Our rocket launches here are actually going great. Foundation Crafter seems to be going on another expedition. It's actually returning from another expedition to craft foundations, so that's good. The transport platforms are both doing their thing. They're unfortunately very much synced up right now. I might want to set them up in such a way that that doesn't happen. But it should be fine. So it's still just like the red circuit demand, which is insane. And we are producing the speed modules. We're up to 48, and does Vulcanist support have any? Yes. So we have some speed module 3s available as of now, which is good because we just lost access to a steady supply of productivity module 3s. This box of 59 is all that we have for the foreseeable future. Hopefully that'll change soon. So yeah, goals for Monday is just continue letting the Covarex enrichment cook. It'll get there eventually. It's not going very fast, but it is going. So eventually it should get there. And we do see some getting all the way through to these ones, which have almost started up for a cycle. So yeah, that's going. It'll take a bit to run, but once we have enough uranium-235, this will be a whole lot better. And then, so that's one goal. Next goal is, of course, to start on the process of recovering gleba. And then the third goal is to get this platform up and running, which it's actually building very fast with all of the extra supplies we have. So we want to get this platform up and running so that we can keep just stable launches going from everything to build more stuff even faster. So that will be on Monday. Thanks ever for hanging out. I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time. So if you haven't already done so, make sure to follow so that you know when I'm live. And I alternate between various factory building games. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I do Factorio. And Tuesday, Thursdays, I do Satisfactory. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, make sure to stop by in the future. And thanks for hanging out. I will see you guys next time.